So in this segment, we're going to be talking about BBC Newsnight correspondent Ben Chu, economics editor Ben Chu, making the Brexit, the border issues 50-50, not really giving a conclusion and talking absolute drivel. The other thing I want to add is it looks like Emily Matlas is leaving BBC Newsnight, which is sad, to be honest. I quite liked her a lot, but I think her and they have their own podcast together, the America podcast or Americast, something like that. It's just sad to see people like that go when the rest of the BBC is quite a lot of clowns, apart from a few. But anyways, let's have a look at this. So, are the lorry queues in Dover due to #Brexit? Now, great clickbait first liner there. A lot of YouTubers will be proud of that. So first, some context on those queues. Okay, he has a strong start. So the Port of Dover has a Transport Access Protocol (TAP), which it implements when it's having trouble processing lorries through customs smoothly. It's not really through customs though, because there wouldn't be any customs checks pre-Brexit. It'd be mainly due to traffic problems. TAP sends the lorries that are trying to get onto ferries onto ferries bound for the continent queuing up down the A20 in Kent, so not to have them clogging the roads down the town of Dover itself. So essentially, they go into one lane. They go into one singular lane, so it doesn't block up the other road. So you can see cars flowing past, okay, and you see lorries on one side of the road. That's why you've got it like that. So note, it's separate from Operation Stack and Brock, which were no-deal Brexit traffic contingency plans for Kent. And, for those people who say, oh, no-deal Brexit wouldn't have had any problems, there's a reason why you've got two other operations, Stack and Brock. So you can see the queues here, right? There's the picture. TAP has been a real pain for lorry drivers who have faced very much longer delays because of the queues. And the local MP, Natalie, something, I don't know pronounce the second name, told Newsnight use of TAP adversely impacting local communities on the A20 with noise and pollution. That's a Brexit consequence. And, this is an MP who said, it's not Brexit, it's because of Brussels red tape, which is not true. We're a third country. The rules on third countries. Go on. So TAP has how often has TAP been implemented? TAP has actually been in existence in 2015, which predates Brexit, and it just shows you that these roads can't handle trade in good times, should I say, in kind of busy periods pre-Brexit. That's what this kind of highlights to us, that traffic can get quite bad, especially I think in October and November, probably down to the increasing traffic flows and the weather. So Newsnight has been sent the monthly breakdowns of its use by national highways. So far, it's been activated 23 times by the port in January and February 2022. So you can see, if you look at the first month, so this is around 12-month scale, right? You can see it had a huge spike at the end of last year, November and December. But if you look here, that's January and February. So if you look at, these will be the January and February months for last year. It probably used about, probably 3 times there at a push. Not much. You look at it for 2020, not much. 2019, there was a huge one in March, and 2018 relatively small at the start. So it does tell you that there is some sort of anomaly here, and it does show you the number of TAP activations. So 96 in 2017, 36 2018, 37 2019, 48 2020, 2021 69 times, big meme number, and just this year, 16th of February, 22 times. So you could see it go into for triple digits here. I think we'll see TAP be used, over 100 times potentially, because this is just, the first month and a half really, and trade flows are lower in the first few months. So it does seem to be being used more often, especially when you compare its usage to January and February, when lorries tend to be lighter in previous years. But is this because of Brexit? Now, this is where we get into very murky waters. What has changed in January in terms of the port's ability to clear lorries? Well, there are new import checks coming to the UK, which is true, there are new import checks. Yet this would logically affect inbound traffic to the UK, so causing delays on the French side, which is typically true, that those lorries would have to come in, but there are still lorries that are importing goods stuck in kind of the Dover car park area because of the paperwork. But something changed on the outbound side too. That would be GVMS. Until the 1st of January, GVMS and HMRC stuff. So until 1st of January, goods could be exported and the paperwork completed 60 days afterwards, which allows the lorries to go through with no problems. Now though, it has to complete before the lorry joins the ferry. So this is a change that's happened this year. for exports. Its requirements, that seems to have led to additional checks in Dover where no checks existed before Brexit because you didn't have to. However, the government has argued this is untrue to suggest that the short delays to freight movements at Dover have been caused by new customs processes. So the government arguing that it's not true and these are short delays which we know are not true. A spokesperson told Newsnight the primary causes were ship refitting, which reduces capacity across the short straits and higher than expected freight volumes. Now, with the ship briefings, I couldn't find anything to verify that. The only things I would say is that surely now the queue should have gone then. These ships should have been done by now, because we were told that certain ships, were off the grid for a bit. But from what I've seen here, I've gone on a website, I tried to have a look around, which freight's still moving despite the storm. There are delays here. Storm Franklin, due to weather conditions, there are delays because of that, but ferries are available. We can see ferries available on these days, 2-hour crossing, and I did have a look, so you can get a van up to 8 meters, a van and a trailer up to 13 meters. So there is availability. And in fairness to Ben Chu, this thread was written on the 18th of February, but that was only at time of recording less than a week ago. You're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, so not really that long. So I with the ferry thing, I don't think that's true. I don't think it's true. It's very hard for me to verify that, but surely the BBC should have spoken to some of these ferry companies and asked them about capacity. I don't have the connections to do such a thing. So what Ben Chu is really doing here is just taking everyone at their word, which doesn't make sense. So the Port of Dover also attributes the increased use of TAP to some ferries being away for a refit. So according to the port itself, it's not just the new Brexit customs controls prompting the increase in the use of TAP. Now, they blame it on increasing freight and these ferries, but ferries typically go for a refit in January because freight numbers are lower. So unless they're saying that there was such a high number of freight to the extent that the port was caught unaware, and that's what's causing delays, which doesn't make sense. Could you have that many ships away for a refit, especially when there's going to be problems with Brexit checks? I don't know. It sounds very irresponsible. Yet the port also told Newsnight these recent supplementary factors, when added to the already increased time to pass through the port following the introduction of further customs controls on the 1st of January, have led to the activation of Operation TAP. So what we can see here is it is hard to follow exactly what's going on in Dover. So we know the UK has started doing import checks on goods coming in from the EU. So any goods coming in will be checked. There won't be physical inspections just yet, but the paperwork and everything will be checked. But there's the GVMS system as well. So all lorries coming into the UK need to have a code. So what's changed with exports? Nothing on the French side has changed. There will be biometric checks, but that's at the end of the year, so it's a red herring. What we can gather from this, what has changed, is HMRC requiring customs checks to be done for exports, things leaving the UK. And also the GVMS system, you need a code to leave the port essentially, or get into the port. So those are the things that have changed, and that's what's adding to the queues. A few ships being off for a refit, I don't know, you got to use Occam's razor here really. And what's the most likely cause? Import checks that are happening, which are causing delays, so that would cause delays on imports. Sorry, I'm rambling a bit here, but what are the two things that have changed to damage exports? The GVMS system, which we know is ropey, and the new customs changes that mean that all customs declarations have to be done before the lorries can reach the ferries. That's the other thing that's changed. And with the 60-day grace period, companies probably got used to that and didn't realise, oh no, we have to make sure everything's in check before we get there for customs and things like that. That's the way I've read into it. Sorry that was a bit rambly, but those are the things that have changed, and that's why the ships thing, it doesn't make sense. The port is saying that the new customs checks brought in because of Brexit have exacerbated the situation. So the port are arguing that the ships being refit and the increase in trade volume are the problems causing the export problems at Dover, which doesn't seem the case. You got to use Occam's razor here. I could be wrong, I'll take an L on it if the majority of the fleet are gone for refits, but it doesn't make sense. And surely the port or the British government should have looked at getting more ferries in to deal with this. Sources at the Port of Dover told Newsnight that customs checks per lorry are on average closer to 5 to 6 minutes since the new year, rather than 2 to 3 minutes, as was thought previously. And now this is where I get annoyed with Ben Chu, because Another BBC article has been told it's taking about 15 minutes per vehicle to process the paperwork, right? Ben Chu has been told it's 5 to 6 minutes. So who's giving you this information? Have you verified this? Because how can you publish an article, right? Fair enough, this one's slightly older. This one's from the 8th, I believe, the 9th of February. Ben Chu has written this thread on the 18th of February. Now, is it the case that within the space of 2 weeks that the Port of Dover have managed to process customs declarations 10 minutes quicker? No, I doubt it. So what does that tell us? Whoever's told him this might not be true, or whoever's told the other BBC writer this might not be telling the truth either. So if you consider that 10,000 lorries per day pass through the port at peak periods, you can see why even a short delay per lorry can create backlogs that require tap activation. But the thing is, there's a massive difference between 5 to 6 minutes and 15 minutes. A huge difference in time per lorry. You're talking about an extra 10 minutes per lorry. That's a lot of time. He goes on, will the port and the hauliers manage to reduce the clearance time back to previous levels as they get used to new checks? Probably not, because freight's going to keep increasing, and the government haven't put the money up in order to help help the port out to deal with customs processing of customs declarations. We also know there aren't enough customs agents to help out these companies, that people aren't getting the paperwork on time, which is causing further problems because customs agents are turning down business. Why? Because they're that busy. They're that busy because there's so many people calling them. Moreover, the port is extremely concerned about the new biometric checks, which is going to take place in September, but that's a red herring because they're not causing the problems now. That's the problem. That could slow down lorry processing time even more. But, the simple fact is, that biometric stuff's a red herring, and that, the BBC have got so much conflicting information. And with the argument that the ferries are full, there is clearly availability here because you can book spots. Look, the 23rd, you can book the 24th. So clearly there's availability on these ferries. So I doubt it's the ferries being full. And Michael M talking about when Britain was part of the same customs territory, so no customs processing border, part of the same single market, so no proving standards on entry to the border. So we didn't have these queues before Brexit. Yes, certain months you would have seen queues because let's be real here. The road going into the Port of Dover, the A20, that's a very small road. That's a very small road for all of these lorries to go into. So you would have had things like Operation Tap, be implemented, because otherwise you would have had probably a queue maybe here, right? But the whole road being blocked, essentially. So yeah, it makes sense that we're having problems because the port's capacity is small and this road is very small, very narrow. But if we look at the overall picture published on the 8th of February, lorry drivers will regularly face a 4-hour delay in Dover in the UK's post-Brexiting world. So we can see that these, the times to process these documents, be it 15 minutes or 6 minutes, whichever one you want to go with, is causing 4-hour delays for lorry drivers. And I couldn't quantify the numbers. I couldn't figure out how to kind of, give you the analysis on it. So, shouts out to Kent Online who've actually done that, which is to say, those 6-minute delays or 15-minute delays, whichever one is actually true, is leading to an average 4-hour delay for lorry drivers themselves. That's how long they have to wait. And Ben Chu didn't put that number in his thread. Very strange, isn't it, Ben? The argument that it's the ferries causing the problems doesn't seem to be the case. It just, if you use Occam's razor, it doesn't feel right, does it? It's most likely down to the paperwork. 15-minute delays on tens of thousands of lorries passing. Oh, sorry, is it tens of thousands or is it around 10,000? We'll go try and find that number. There is 10,000 lorries per day passing through. 15 minutes for 10,000 lorries. For each one is a long time. And so it frustrates me to no end that the BBC, right, instead of trying to do actual journalism and actual analysis, right, and, telling us, all right, look, we spoke to the ferry companies. They're saying they're at full capacity, or they're saying they're not at full capacity. So it can't be the ferries that are the main problem here. What can we see are the main problems? That, paperwork is taking such a long time. You're talking 10,000 lorries potentially waiting 6 minutes each. So what does that translate into? Kent Online did it, and Ben Chu wrote this massive thread out with the BBC doing what they always do, which is offering no conclusions, no actual analysis. If you wrote this at a university level, you would struggle to get past the 2-2 because you've offered no conclusion and you've offered no real analysis apart from this person said this person said that. And, it just kind of shows you that the BBC still don't get it. It's not 50-50. It's not, oh, it could be this or it could be that. That's not your job. Your job is to tell us what is going on. Your job is to find out, right, is it the ferries that are the problem? No. Okay, what does that mean then? Your job is to do actual analysis. That's what you guys used to do, at least. That's what I thought you guys used to do. Ben, I would hope you're better than this, but I don't know, man. And especially with Emily Mount that's going, who knows? Who knows at this point? Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this thread as well from Ben Chu. Have I been too harsh? Have I been too kind? Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.